and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Christmas bedtime stories. The best Christmas gift in the universe. How does it look, Ringle? Santa bent over the little man, scooping snow into the tester of 3 clear plastic tubes. Too early to tell yet, sir. We should know something exactly. Ringle clicked his watch. 47 seconds. Santa bit nervously on the ends of his bristly white hairs that poked over his upper lip. This is going to be the year. Ringle peered into the tester. The snow in the first tube was slowly turning a brilliant turquoise blue. The snow in the second tube was orange, and the third tube remained white. The bulky man and his child-sized assistant stood on top of an industrial complex in New Dawn City on what had once been the most populated spot on planet Earth. The sun was just beginning to peep over the horizon. It was Christmas Day, December 25th. The year was 2102. Ringo's watch beeped, and he switched on a thermometer-like probe he had been holding. Inserting it in the tube of a turquoise snow, Ringo muttered under his breath, "Come on, baby, give me a go. Give me a go for Santa." Suddenly the probe let out a high-pitched tone. A green light flashed at the top. Ringo's hand shook as he removed the probe. "You've done it, sir. You've done it." "Not so fast, Ringo. We have to pass all 3 purity tests." What did the other 2 read? Ringo repeated the test twice and got the tone and the green flashing light each time. He and Santa stood wordless for a long minute, each gripping the other hand. Tears filled their eyes. Both men had worked hard and waited for this moment. Santa broke the stillness. "Well, we know what we have to do now, Ringo. Let's go to it. I hope you will accompany me to the Christmas gathering." "Oh, sir, I never dreamed. What an honor. Of course I'll come." The 2 grinned at each other and turned to the steaming pink sleigh shuttered park behind them. Ringo can go to the control panel and clicked on the auto cleanser while Santa opened an orange storage bin at the back of his sleigh. He pulled out 8 silver cartridges about the size of bullets. "Do you think there are 8 automatic reindeer will get us there?" he asked Ringo. Ringo peered up at the sun. "Yes, sir. That should push us up to about EV28. Plenty of time to make the gathering." The sleigh, cleansed of snow and mud, stood quivering and hissing, ready for its next precious cargo. 100% pure earth snow. Santa and Ringo pulled shovels from the sleigh's tool bin and began loading in the white frozen crystals into a huge bag in the hold. "Bet the guys up at the pole never thought we would be doing this today," laughed Ringo as he stepped to catch his breath for a second. I hope they are resting by now," Santa said, mopping his forehead. "All the elves worked extra hard this season, including you, Ringo. I've never seen a sleigh pack higher than last night. I'm tired, too. The delivery route seems longer each year, but shoveling snow this morning is one job I'm glad I'll do." "What do you think the Overlord will say, sir? Will he be surprised?" "And what about the other Santas? What do you think they'll say?" Santa let out his famous laugh. "Ho, ho, ho. There's only one way to find out, my friend. Let's get cracking." He dug deep in the snow. Half an hour later, the sleigh shuttle was filled to the brim with snow, and the hatch closed tightly inside. Santa and his first mate donned helmets and strapped themselves in for their journey. Exhaustion pressed down on them like a heavy blanket. "At least we can catch 40 winks on the way up," yawned Santa. "This is one gathering I plan to enjoy." In the silent the sleigh shuttle lifted from the earth with 7 million pounds of thrust. In a matter of seconds, the ship had achieved escape velocity, the speed needed to Earth's gravity and to travel to the sun. Although the human race had made enormous strides in space travel, colonizing the moon, landing on Mercury and Mars, this journey to the sun was beyond their realm of belief. In this advanced civilization, parents still told their children stories about Santa Claus, but they were quaint tales of an old-fashioned rocket that buzzed around the planet delivering packages. What humans had never known, was that their Santa was real. His task on their planet went far beyond emptying, bringing Christmas joy. Their Santa had been sent out from the sun by the Overlord himself to manage, guide, and protect third member of the solar system. Indeed, the Earthlings knew nothing of the Overlord. They still clung to the idea that theirs was the only life form in the galaxy. In spite of the fact that transmissions arrived daily from other planets, in spite of the fact that their astronauts had stepped over crater cities on Mercury and photographed ice-capped colonies on Mars, in spite of the fact that stories about Santa Claus himself lived on from the earliest days of recorded Earth history to the present. With all these clues before them, the Earthlings simply could not see, did not want to see, the wealth of life teeming in their solar system. Now, from this tiny corner of the galaxy, Santa Claus and Ringo made their way toward the sun. Their journey was beyond speed. It was all about light and color. Their ship quickly left the blackness of Earth's atmosphere and entered the interplanetary realm of shifting greens and blues. As the shuttle grew closer and closer to the sun, the colors blazed brighter and burned away at the tiny vehicle and its riders. Humans had always feared these burning rays. They had tried to keep them out with protective shields, not realizing they were cutting off the very power source that could make them to new worlds and beyond. First, the ship blazed purple and then red as the temperatures climbed higher and higher. Heading straight for the sun's corona, the metal hull turned blue-white, burning at degrees inconceivable to Earth scientists. Changes were also happening inside the ship. As Santa and Ringo slept on, the heat from outside crept in and burned away at their skin, first turning it brown, then blue-black, and finally a rainbow color like that of soap bubbles. A shade that mirrored all the colors dancing outside the ship. The intense rays were like a cleansing, a burning away of all that was old and soiled and imperfect. Like butterflies emerging from their cocoons, Santa and Ringo became new creations. Millions and millions of miles slipped by. Soon the sleigh's atomic thrust slowed. For a short while, the shuttle rocked in limbo, still moving forward, but slowly and gently. Had Santa and Ringo been awake and looking out a porthole, they could have seen 11 other ships rocking like gentle giant cradles. Fingers of solar wind reached out and tickled ships, drawing them gently ever closer to the surface of the sun. Each ship hovered above the corona until swoosh, the dark hollow of a sunspot would open, and the ship would dive deep in the sun's core. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 12 times a different spot opened, and 12 times the ship vanished from the corona, leaving a brilliant tail of energy blazing behind. Deep in the core, the shuttles docked and the hatches opened. Down from the ships came the 12 Santas of the solar system, rested and with faces rainbow bright. There was Santa Claus from Earth and Santa Claus from Santa Mouse from Mercury, Taos and Droughts from Venus and Mars. From Jupiter came Faust. Paws from Saturn, Caws, Jaws, and Boss from Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Santas from other planets not yet known to Earth were also there. Gals, Nows, and Vows from Taurus, and Gi. The rainbow faces sparkled as they greeted one another with hugs and handshakes. There had been many long, lonely days since the last Christmas gathering. Behind them, an army of elves swarmed over the sleighs, unloading the precious cargo each brought by Santa. There were jeweled eggs from the rings of Saturn, volcanic honey from Mars, meteor beetles from Omam, and more. All the delights of the solar system were now shooting down a transport tube in the Overlord's imperial kitchens. After more serious work of the gathering was done, what a Christmas feast these Santas have. Claus and Ringo watched as the elves pushed their huge thermal bag of snow out on the transport tube beltway. The clasp on the top of the bag remained unsealed. Ringo giggled. Tee-hee, no one knows, do they? I bet they think you've brought reindeer moss again. Hee-hee. They sure will be surprised at the Christmas banquet. They don't know how hard you've worked cleaning up Earth's pollution, so the Claus clapped a hand over Ringo's mouth and turned to a Santa walking over to their sleigh. Greetings, Brother Gauss. How goes it on Tarsus? The two Santas walked away together, discussing their work on their planet. Ringle restrained himself until they were out of sight, and they took down the beltway after the bag. With a flying leap, he landed on top of the bag and rode grandly down to the kitchens. After all, he giggled to himself, he was delivering the Christmas present of the evening. Solemn tones echoed from a gamma ray organ from silence to the Imperial Solarium. Solemn tones echoed from a gamma ray organ brought silence to the Imperial Solarium. Relevantly, the Santas bowed their heads as the Overlord entered and took his place at the head of the polished meteorite table. Praise be to our High Lord Creator, said the Overlord. The Father, Mother of all life, our High Lord Creator, answered the 12 Santas. Following his sun-gold hands across his chest, the Overlord gave Santa a long, probing look. The ancient being who ruled the solar system for the High Lord Creator had been a Santa himself long ago. He knew the tears and thorns each Santa faced in guiding the planet. It was not an easy job. One by one, the Santas presented their reports. The Overlord listened to the accounts of war among the insect men of Mars, that a mystery disease was killing the diamond trees of Pluto. He heard how Santa Voss had taught the Geeites to sing, and that Joust and his Neptuners were finally at peace. Then it came time for Earth's account. The Overlord turned to Santa Claus. How are things on our dear third planet, Claus? Claus told of medical cures for that dread earthling disease, the bad cold. He talked of schools where all of Earth's children studied radiology. He told how the lost forest of Sherwood had been replanted and that the Earthlings, at last, were recycled their atomic waste. Santa Claus stopped speaking and looked down. Is that all, Claus? The Overlord asked, searching the face with his wise as old eyes. It was all Santa Claus to do to keep the secret of the pure earth snow from showing on his face. Well, I see, Claus, the High Lord Creator, will be pleased with his little earth. Good work. The meeting continued until all reports had been given. At last, the Overlord stood. Well done, my loyal workers. Let us proceed to the Imperial Banquet Hall. The wonderful sights and heavenly smells that awaited them in the hall were beyond words. Tables piled high with treats from every planet lined the room. Stones began to rumble as the Santas eyed the delicious dishes. But before the feasting came the presentation of the Christmas gift to the Overlord. Whispered buzzed around the room. What is the gift to be? Which planet sent it this time? I haven't heard a word about the gift. Do you have a gift for the Overlord? Don't we? Where's the gift? Ringle stepped proudly out of the crowd, carrying a covered serving dish. That was his moment of glory. With a flourish, he bowed long before the Overlord and lifted the lid. There, piled high on the dish, was a treat not seen at Christmas gathering for over a century. A sparkling white snow cream from Earth, a frozen concoction of cream and sugar and pure snow, the most delectable dish planet Earth had to offer. The buzzing began again, this time louder and with great excitement. He's finally done it. Congratulations, Claus. Good work. Imagine, after all these years, clean snow. Silently, the Overlord reached for the spoon held by the Ringle. He lifted his scoop up to his lips and raised slowly to the snow cream with eyes closed. No one dared to breathe. At long last, he opened his eyes and smiled. The best Christmas gift in the universe, he proclaimed, and held the dish high amid the cheers from all the elves and Santas. Over the heads of the crowd, an Overlord and Santa looked into each other's eyes. Each knew what an accomplishment this was. At last, Earth was free from the curse of pollution. Santa and the Earthlings having given a healthy planet back to the universe. The High Lord Creator be praised. And that's the end of that story. See you later.